My mom is acting jealous with my boyfriend. Now she's trying to break us up.
Ooh.
So starting this off, I, 20 female, met my boyfriend, 20 male, in April of 2023, 18 female and 19 male, and started dating in July. So officially been together for a year and 3 months, but known each other for a year and a half. My mom has never been supportive with any of the guys I've dated, saying things like, "Are you sure? He doesn't really seem like a good match." And I know his parents. I wouldn't continue with that one.
Oh my God.
I know in her head she thinks she's looking out for me and wants what's best for me. But every time she says something like that, it would get into my head and make me question it too.
I get that.
And when my past situationships didn't work out, she'd always be there to tell me it was probably for the best. And the right one would just come along. By the way, this comes from deleted on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when she met my now boyfriend, he came over for dinner with the whole family and then stayed for a movie and left. As soon as he closed the door, she immediately said, "He doesn't seem like your type." When he's exactly my type. Don't want to go into too much detail, but he's hardworking, blue-collar guy with dark hair and green eyes. Kind of like Harry Potter.
I was thinking Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson doesn't have green eyes.
Yes, he does.
What? Percy Jackson has green eyes? Green like the sea. He's kind, humble, makes me feel safe just by being in his presence, and just overall has an amazing character. I can say now that I'm completely in love with him, but back then I thought, wow, this guy doesn't seem too bad. Before we were official, he referred to me as his wife.
Whoa.
Not to my face, but his buddies, who then told me
cute.
and told all of them that he was going to marry me. So when he asked me to be his girlfriend in July, I of course said yes right away. And here starts this whole journey. Are we getting a happy story? Are we getting a happy story right now? Let's
with
go.
With a jealous mom, though.
End the stream with a happy note. Come on.
Come on.
Be happy. Come on. It's like I'm shaking dice. I'm like, all right, roll a happy.
Oh, 7.
After we started officially dating, we hung out almost every day at my house. He'd get out of work. His hours are iffy, never knew when he would be done, and would come over no matter if he got out at 5 p.m. or 10 p.m. He'd go home and shower, then came over to see me. He basically conquered the phrase, if he wanted, though, he would.
He freaking would.
He definitely, he's wooding very hard right now. Okay. I had never met a guy that had so much interest in me and put in so much effort to win me over. As he was head over heels for me, I was secretly head over heels for him. And as the girls know, he was everything I wrote in my notes app about. My mom then had her opinions about him, but I didn't care. I really like this guy, and I can see it going further, so I didn't listen to her. He seems all over the place, and he's love bombing you. It will fade. Oh my God.
This mom is the worst.
He gave me a promise
She's jealous.
ring. Yeah, she's just jealous.
She's just jealous of you. Don't listen to her.
Or maybe she's too jealous. Maybe she's going to try to steal him.
Maybe she really likes him. She's like, he's not your time, but he's mine.
And he gave me a promise ring at the end of August, and I loved it, but I could already smell her opinions. And they stink. I was actually kind of scared to show her the ring. I knew I would hear, already? It's too soon. Maybe you guys should just slow down. Her actual reaction was just looking at it, sitting at my finger. Didn't say anything at first, just looked at the ring, then at me, then at the ring, with a neutral, confused expression on her face. Like, oh boy. Here we go. Her actual response was, does his family know? Him and his mom actually went to Jared together to look at them. Oh, Jared. Like, I think it's a
ring store. Oh.
I said, yes, they do. And she put on a fake smile and said, it's pretty.
I
just
hate
said
this mom.
Yeah, she sucks. And went in my room kind of defeated. Knew she would react like that, but it still hurt. Not saying like, I'm happy for you or being excited with me, just her judgment. Fast forward a couple months, I started going over to his house a lot more often than he would come over to mine. I really like it over there. His family is amazing. I think that kind of hurt my mom though. She started jokingly asking if his mom cooks better food than she does, or if my boyfriend was making me feel like I had to go over there. No, it's not. It's just where the wind takes us. I like it over there, so I always ask my boyfriend if it would be okay if I came over instead of him coming here. Doesn't mean he's forcing me to.
Yeah, because she just doesn't like their mom.
Well, if you're going to be like a massive D-bag, of course they're going to go over to the other family.
He's forcing you to come over. It's like, no, you're just forcing me to
away
leave.
From you.
Yeah.
This kind of went on for a while, and I kind of lost motivation to come home on time. She wanted me home by 11, and when I would come home at 11:30, she'd be standing in the entryway with her arms looking at me saying, you're late. Where have
you been? Car gone, bed's
No
empty, no note. Could have been killed.
You could have been seen.
My thought was the Incredibles like turnaround. Like in the Incredibles when Elastigirl, she like spins in the chair.
Oh,
and she's
yeah.
like, Bob.
And I would just have to say, sorry. Then when I would leave the house the next night, I'd say bye to my parents, and my mom would just say, be home on time, sternly.
How old is Sophie?
20 female. Boyfriend, 20 male.
Okay, so
But,
it's like, but she was at the time 18.
18 and 19.
Okay. So it like somewhat makes sense why there's a bit of a curfew.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than losing motivation to come home. My heart started to sink every time I pulled
Aw.
into our driveway. And every time I had a day off work, she would be working it. And it was just such a free feeling being home with my sister. We'd be sitting on the living room couch and making food in the kitchen instead of being in our rooms. Currently now, I go over to his house. I don't want him around my toxic family. There's more stuff that has happened with my older siblings, but I never want them to come across this post. Otherwise, they'll know it's me. I still to this day hear comments about how he never comes over, and my mom saying comments about how he isn't trying anymore. Like, did you forget about the first 3 months he came over, even if it was for 10 minutes just to say hi? My older brother, who is single himself, has told me to break up with my boyfriend multiple times since he doesn't put any effort to come over, even though he doesn't know about how our relationship started. I also think it's my mom talking in his ear.
Gotta be. It's gotta be the mom being like, she's not right for him. Also, I just don't think you can really be this critical about the relationship. I feel like mom always says she's like, I can't complain about like your partners because they might turn into your like significant
marriage partners.
Marriage partners.
Yeah. I kept most of our relationship a secret because of my mom. They don't need to know every single little detail about him and our relationship. My mom has added my boyfriend on all socials, including Snapchat, and then replies to his stories.
That's so strange.
Like a picture of the job site they're working on. Then my mom will ask where they're working, trying to make conversation, and it feels like she's trying to maneuver her way in through him since he doesn't come over anymore. When in the beginning stages, she didn't even really try and talk to him or make conversation. Frustrating and confusing, sorry. Even though my mom hasn't held back telling me her concerns, like, does she not want him to know she doesn't like him? I've had multiple conversations with him about my family, and he's met/seen firsthand everyone's personalities. So it's not like they're strangers to him. Anyway, so a couple nights ago, I accidentally fell asleep at his house. No, it's not the first time that this has happened, but I came home in the morning around 6:30. Of course, freaking out because I know my mom will be mad, and walked inside my house. My mom is standing there just looking at me. I said, sorry, I fell asleep. She works, so she hasn't been up all night. And she just looks at me like I'm the scum of the earth, says nothing, and then turns around and walks away. I've been reading posts about the same situation with spending the night at a boyfriend or girlfriend's house and reading that it's her house and I should listen to her rules or not to let her bother me because I'm an adult and she can't tell me what to do kind of thing. But apparently my mom told my sister that she's thinking of giving me two options. I break up with him, that she wants me out of her house. She told my sister she's been wanting to tell me this for a while. So it's basically I break up or get kicked out.
That's crazy.
But she is scared that I'm going to go move in with my boyfriend if she tells me this. Yes, we're a Christian family and I would get shunned for moving in with them, but being shunned or not, I'm not going to inconvenience his family like that. I know I'm welcome over there, but not to the point of moving in. And trust me, if I could afford to move on my own, I would. But why doesn't my mom want to have a conversation with me about it? Why talk about me behind my back to my sister? I don't want to be the one to go up to her since I'm hearing everything she's saying about me. And she probably doesn't know that my sister tells me everything. Makes me overthink about what she's making up or saying about me to the rest of our extended family. Also, a couple weeks ago, my mom got mad at me for spending all day Sunday with him. He works Monday through Saturday, sometimes gets a Saturday off, but I also work every Saturday. So Sunday is the only day we get off that we both know for sure we get off. I left my house at like 8 a.m. and we had an amazing day. Came home around 11 p.m. and my sister is already in my room saying that my mom was mad I wasn't home all day. Ugh.
This is just really, this is really difficult.
Yeah, the mom is not mature at all.
No, not at all. But I mean, like, I think I know like a lot of stories with or just like also just people with parents like this, especially when you're 18, because there is still kind of like, technically you are a legal adult.
Yeah.
But there is still that you are financially dependent. Yeah. You're still in the house. So it is still, they're able to kind of assert those rules and stuff.
So for the past couple of weeks, she hasn't been talking to me, giving you the silent treatment. She's like a child.
Yeah.
This is why I'm pretty sure she was so mad about me falling asleep at his house a couple nights ago. My boyfriend and I are saving up for a house. We've talked probably too many times, lol, about getting married and half planning when and where it's going to take place. Will my mom relax more after getting married? Who knows? But the way she's reacting to him and treating me, because I'm not home all the time anymore, just really hurts and brings me down. I basically feel like she tied me to a rock and is the only one that has a knife to cut the rope, but she doesn't, based on resentment towards me. Like she's punishing me for trying to be independent. Kind of a random analogy, but I can't wait to move out and start living my life apart from her. There's another relevant update, but Sophia, how do you feel with how overbearing this mom is?
I mean, it's really frustrating. And yeah, I was about to say, Tomlet, as Tomlet said, OP is 20 now. So 2 years have passed of this kind of behavior of her just being hypercritical and hyper controlling. It's very frustrating. But it's also like, just from a purely logistical standpoint, it's like, unfortunately, unless you have the money to move out, you do kind of have to deal with it. Yeah. Which, like, obviously she's not in the right for it, but when you don't have other options, it's,
when you don't have other options, that's your only option.
Yeah. It is very frustrating though.
But there's another relevant update. So I did buy a book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents.
I have heard of that.
And yes, there's a lot more to her personality and my siblings' personalities, but let's not get too much into it. And my dad, who doesn't really have an opinion about anything, just go with the flow and no drama kind of guy. And I don't want to tell too specific stories because I'm afraid they'll come across this post. Anyway, thank you for reading all this. And I would love some other opinions and advice on this. I feel like I have a plan to move out, but it's something I think like you'll have to deal with.
Yeah, until that day.
And it doesn't sound like your mom is going to change. You could maybe what would assuage some of her hyper helicopter parenting is if you actually did bring your boyfriend over. Because now it seems like she like didn't want him to come over initially and didn't like him. But maybe if you bring him over, she'll like turn a new leaf. I don't think she necessarily deserves, you to do this, and you do whatever you feel is best. But if you're trying to think about how to get her off your back and how to maybe get on her good side so she's not so like policing, it might be a way to do this so at least in the short term you can deal with it, and then long term still have the plan to get out.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'd love to know what you guys think. Put your answers in the chat in the comments below.
No, not much you can do when you're living with them.
Yeah, it's a little rough, But we got another story for you.
My girlfriend's aunt doesn't like me for some reason, and I think I just made a huge mistake in front of her.
Uh-oh.
Hello, everyone. I am a 26-year-old male, non-Filipino, and not Western, and I dated a 25-year-old cute Filipina. At first, we were friends. Both of us are international students in college in Canada. I used to find her with my other Filipina friend when they switched us the previous semester. By the way, this comes from Boom Sniper 69 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So we slowly became friends. And then we got closer and closer until a bond was forged. Before we entered the relationship, we set standards and talked about a lot of future subjects like values, religion, and finances, and we agreed on them. What got me attracted to her was her personality and her intelligence. Physically, she was tiny and adorable. She used to tell me I date to marry. She had been in a 6-year relationship that ended before she came to this new country, and my last relationship was in 2018. We agreed that this is not a rebound relationship or a waste of time. We are here for the future since we are both building our lives and we have shared goals. We spent 8 months together and made lots of very good memories. I know how happy and comfortable I made her feel, and the same for her with me. Yeah, we had disagreements here and there like any other couple, but we knew we weren't perfect. We acknowledged that this relationship would be challenging because we are not from the same culture. However, as long as we are together, we can find solutions. She lives here with her aunt, and at first, her aunt wasn't accepting of me. The aunt never saw me or even talked to me. She just judged me based on my religion and ethnicity. She used to tell her to go marry a Canadian citizen. All the info I have of her aunt is from my girlfriend. However, my girlfriend used to tell me that she spends a lot of time and effort to paint me in a good light to her aunt.
A lot of time? Why?
A lot. She's like, he's
so
great.
much time?
He's super good. He's so
I swear.
cool. Well, maybe the aunt is like hypercritical and she's like, I really need to talk him up. She also told me that her aunt gave her so much stress and a hard time, especially taking care of her aunt's kids. That can be hard to manage as an international student in a foreign country. Days and months passed. We had our highs and lows like any normal relationship, but we always bounced back and our love never diminished. Even when I returned home and we switched to a long-distance relationship for 2 months, our love stayed strong. Even though we had small quarrels at the time, but we always pushed through. On September 24th, 2024, on my other friend's birthday, we were in college going together to get plastic forks and spoons. We passed by 2 other Filipinos that we don't like, and they don't like us, especially me. One of them is a female who used to spread bad rumors about me to my girlfriend's aunt. Uh-oh. All the info I have about these 2 people is from my girlfriend, especially the girl who doesn't like my girlfriend. They are roommates at my girlfriend's aunt's house. Wait, why do they all live at the aunt's house? I don't
know. I don't know.
Since my girlfriend is scared of her aunt, that made things complicated. So when I saw my girlfriend waving hi at them as a reflex, I slightly pushed her on the back as let's go, hurry. I intended no harm whatsoever. She stumbled a bit and said to me, why did you push me in front of them? I said, don't worry about it. Let's go. Our friend is waiting. We took pictures with our friend. And when we were going home together, she started talking about how that slight push, because it was in front of them, would lead them to reporting it to her aunt. And all of her efforts to build my image would go to waste. She started crying because she thought I didn't understand, and it escalated. I tried to de-escalate it by telling her they won't report it. It was just a slight push, but she was more enraged. We reached home, argued for a bit, and then I left her to cool down a bit before coming back. Bear in mind, I was dealing with some other personal stuff from other sides as well. When I came back after a few minutes, I found her packing her clothes and stuff. I asked, are you going to keep doing this whenever we have arguments? It doesn't seem like he's handling it super well, but neither is she.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you push someone, you should say, oh my
I'm
God,
sorry.
I'm
don't
sorry.
Don't worry about it. That's rude. I mean, regardless of if it was in front of someone, if you push someone, they say like, hey, why'd you push me? And you're like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
That's rude. Then she booked an Uber. I was so tired and drained. In the heat of the moment, I wished her a happy life. She left in the Uber, and then a couple of hours later, I sent her a text message on Messenger, apologizing and such. She said she forgives me and that she wants peace.
It's like a little bit of an overreaction. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't
Unless
like
we're getting
OPs,
like some kind of, if we're getting like if we're not getting all the information, maybe.
Yeah. Then she removed the chat colors and nicknames, and I asked why. She said, because I'm serious. I let her be for a couple of hours. Then I texted her asking if there was any possibility for her to come back and talk. She spoke in slogans and said, no, that boat has sailed.
Huh? Is that a slogan?
No, it's saying. Since then, I tried to reconcile and talk to her more, but no text worked. She talked about how she tried and how I deserve someone better and that I'm not happy with her and that she can only offer friendship. Those were dramatic talks that were not true. I met her face to face after the incident to further try and reconcile with her and tell her we've passed by bumps before and that this is a small bump in our future.
Yeah, just like the small bump that he gave her when he shoved her over.
And we're here for the long run. She started crying again and her aunt was brought up again. This time, magically, her aunt became nice and caring. We spoke for 3 hours. I was trying to reconcile, but we didn't reach anywhere. She says she forgives me, but she can't forget, as if I did an unforgivable catastrophic sin, which that's not the case.
Yeah.
Before she left for work, she said, if you want to be friends, let me know your decision. This does feel like a big, I don't love OP's reactions, but it does feel like, unless there were other instances.
I feel like there must be other things. Because then it's just like, I feel like it's hyper dramatic.
Yeah. After that, I tried again and again to reconcile. On Monday morning, she said she would consider it, but I needed to give her time, so I let her be. That night, she texted me saying how we can't make it and that we are not compatible. She brought up stuff we already discussed and agreed on since we met, as if she doesn't know me after 8 months. Lots of dramatic texts, not logical at all. So this is my bad. I panicked, started begging and pleading and called her. I lost control of my emotions. She picked up and I tried reconciling again, telling her we've been through bad, sour, and good together. As long as we're together, we can tackle everything. She brought up her aunt again and how difficult the relationship is, and she said stuff that doesn't make any sense. I tried to reason with her and use a logical approach to paint the bigger picture. Finally, she agreed on trying again. She told me now I need to do damage control because she thinks my image is tarnished with her aunt, which I don't understand if this is a Filipino thing where aunts are held in higher regard or what. She's not even her mom. I always tell her I only care about her mom and siblings. Sophia Colon says, I think there is cultural differences and lack of communication. I think so too, because
I'm just confused. I feel like they're not understanding each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's been pretty clear that her family is like her extended family and her immediate family are harsh, but also just very important, and their opinions, she like values them very highly. And so for him to be like, oh yeah, I don't care, it's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah,
I think there's a kind of everyone sucks here. Maybe she cares about my image and other people's opinions and her aunt's sayings. Then she sent me a text saying this is my second chance and don't mess up or I won't offer friendship and I'll block and forget. As if it's easy to forget all those good memories and how happy she was with me.
How long have they been together again?
I don't know.
They're young.
I mean, they're in school, so. Yeah. I told her not to sacrifice me and our relationship for other people's opinions. We are building ourselves here step by step. A couple of days after that, she returned to not agreeing. On Thursday, I tried offering her favorite coffee on our lunch break, French vanilla with a quarter coffee, as usual. One for me and one for her. She texted something like weird like, as a concerned friend, yes, but as a boyfriend, no.
What? Getting her coffee?
I tried offering her favorite coffee, and she's like, if you wanted to do it like as a friend, sure, but you're not a boyfriend? Like, what does that mean? You just said a couple of days ago you're okay with us together, and she even called me babe. She said something like, if you brought me a gift or food, this would end sooner. The drama, I suppose. What is going on?
Dude, this is not healthy.
No, I was acting on her words. Before that night, I was crafting a surprise gift for her, a bracelet with her favorite color that says, always believe my special, in the word mahal. On Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, during lunch break, it was awkward. She kept hitting my legs under the table gently. I didn't know what she wanted or meant. Before that, I told her, you want to go get coffee? I'll buy. She said no with a face. Then I asked if we could go talk outside. She was walking slowly behind me, and then the shocker. She stood about 4 to 5 meters away from me. I told her, why are you far away? Get close so we can hear each other. The moment I started approaching her, she started backing up as if I'm a monster or Godzilla. I didn't know why she did that. The conversation started okay, but she was still not making sense. She was saying dramatic things like how what I did shocked her and made her terrified, and how her neck twisted, etc. Which, by the way, is not true because no neck was twisted and she was perfectly fine. Proof is we took pictures after that. What? Her only concern was not the slight push, but because it was in front of them. She even said that if I as a friend pushed her, she would push me back. So the push is not the issue. I feel like, yeah, Avery from the Swamp says the hot and cold blowing up at the drop of a hat. Yeah.
And Claire Goff says games. She's playing games.
Then
it feels like this maybe a little game thing.
I think so. And it's just confusing.
Yeah, they're not compatible. Caitlin Van Camp says this story is weird.
She's being very weird.
I feel like we are having missing information.
I think so. I don't know why she's behaving like this. Then she started acting nonchalant. I was nervous, reasoning with her. She was on another personality as if the girl I knew for 8 months wasn't there.
8 months. Okay, so it's only been 8 months.
It felt like another personality filled with things that didn't make sense. She started accusing me of having a temper, saying, in hindsight, I knew, as if she took time to really think about everything from a logical point of view, not an emotional, dramatic one. Then I got angry and she got angry. We started making personal attacks. We said bad things to each other, and the conversation went to crap. Afterward, she blocked me on Messenger, unfollowed me on Instagram, but left my number unblocked. Tina says, someone else? I'm like, maybe.
Oh, like is she juggling boys?
Maybe.
She could be a boy juggler.
Possibly. This is very confusing. I just want to know if all of this is justified. Am I a monster? What about the overall good relationship we had for 8 months? What about the good memories and how I made her feel? Will she come back and realize she wasn't thinking straight?
Dude, I don't think it's worth it, man. Like,
nah,
you're so confused. She's probably confused. I'm confused. Everyone's confused. Heidi Vincent says break up, and I agree.
I think so.
I think you guys need to break up.
Kirsten Dadu says maybe she's listening to her auntie. I probably think if she holds her family's, opinions in high regard, she probably is listening to that and hearing like, you're right. Oh my God, he is, being horrible to me, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, no, I think break up. But there's a little bit more.
Let's hit it.
I want advice from Filipinos or others because I've run scenarios in my head and not one of them gives a valid logical reason for her to break up like this or for all of this to happen. Thank you for reading all of that. It is very hard on me because I remember all the good times. I will add that she is not an evil, vile person. On the contrary, she's one of the sweetest people I've ever been with. It's not fair to let this relationship go to waste because of hormones or illogical reasons. And that is the end of that story.
Ooh.
Man, oh man.
Man, oh man, oh man.
You break up with her. What is this? What's going on here? I don't even understand. You're like, I'm confused. We're confused.
We're very confused.
Why do you keep trying to get her back? She's broken up with you like 5 times. Ay.
But luckily, we're not breaking up with you because we have one
more story
to close out the stream. Also, I don't know if we read this from Hannah, but thanks for the $55. OP is the AI version of self-improvement. Oh, baby. All right, we got one more.
Okay, last story.
Last story. All right, you ready? Woo! You buckling up, buttercups?
Buckle up, buttercups.
We're going into the oven. We're going to get cooked. My dad is constantly complaining because he can't wear shoes in our house.
This is my parents.
Yeah, I know.
I have to yell at them. I'm like, stop wearing shoes in our house.
My husband, 37 male, and I, 35 female, are currently pregnant with our first child after getting married and buying a house earlier this year. This would be my parents' first grandchild, and they are very much looking forward to it. The problem is that my parents have caused a rift between themselves and my husband, and he doesn't have any interest in coming back from it. By the way, this comes from Touchin' Grass 89 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Go submit your stories over there. So
do it.
A little bit of backstory. Husband and I have been together for nearly 11 years after meeting in a city that we both had moved to, far from both of our families. I am a white Latina and he is a person of color. I grew up in a household where it was acceptable to openly joke about race and religion. I obviously do not agree with this.
Okay.
Do you see where this is going? Put some ICUs in the chat.
Not a great
if you see this. I moved out at 19, educated myself, and know better at my grown age. Unfortunately, my parents still think this type of talk is acceptable. I constantly have to call them out and point out things they say that are rude and offensive. It's gotten to be a bit exhausting. On top of that, my father has major only child syndrome. The world revolves around him. He is never wrong. He is stubborn, doesn't like to be challenged, etc. Classic Latino machismo type of guy. My mom, even though she doesn't always agree with his behavior, will still try to defend him because that's her husband. I would also like to point out that there have been a couple members of my dad's family that have gone no contact with him because of how he acts, and others turn a blind eye because that is just how he is. So the dad is kind of like the worst.
Yeah. So the dad kind of sucks.
Kind of sucks. In a family full of people that are making some choice jokes, the dad has the choicest jokes. Despite all of this, my parents do their best to show me love, which usually comes in the form of financial assistance. Money, please.
Money.
They help pay for our wedding, gifted us some money for our house. They have good intentions. They just don't know how to act right. So my parents planned their first visit to come see our new home 2.5 hours away from where they live. My husband goes out of his way to clean, buys a mattress for them. We had been living there only for 2 months at this point, plans meals, makes reservations for a restaurant, plans activities, etc. He goes above and beyond to make sure we have a good time. However, from the moment they arrive, my parents complain. We have a no shoes rule in our home, which nobody else has an issue with, but for some reason, it's extremely hard for them to abide by, and they whine about it every time they come inside. Literally, we've never had a problem Except on Halloween, someone was like, but my shoes are part
of my outfit. And I was like,
but I don't care.
Okay.
Take them off. My dad asked why he has to take them off when our carpet isn't even new. It shouldn't matter. Next comes the unsolicited advice about what we got to do/buy for the house. Again, we just moved in. We are expecting a child. Fixing up the house right away is not our number one priority. We took them out for lunch and my dad complained about the restaurant asking for a tip when he had to go pick up his food at the counter. My husband and I made dinner that night. He was excited to cook for my parents as he had brought some yummy things to grill that evening. Dude, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop.
I know.
I'm waiting.
It's coming.
When we sit down for dinner, my dad takes a bite and his first response is, well, that's interesting. This was after he had been sleeping on the couch all evening, not even bothering to lift a finger. My mom at least came over and offered some assistance. Plenty of other things happened that day, but the list would be too long for this post. The next day, as we were coming back from an outing, my dad again complained about having to take his shoes off. My husband explained that for him, it was a cultural thing, to which my dad responded with, well, my daughter ain't part of that culture. My husband, so I only should have to take off one shoe. My husband brushed off the comment, but then added, you're aware that your grandson is going to be part of that culture, right? To which my dad replied, we'll see.
Oh my God.
And that was the last straw. My husband left, called me from his car in a parking lot, and told me my parents needed to leave. After a lot of back and forth, they ended up getting a hotel for the remainder of their stay and had not spoken to my husband since. Until yesterday.
Okay.
What do you think they're going to say? Do you think they're going to be understanding or no?
Hopefully. I mean, like, come on, this is your child's partner.
I feel like they're not going to be understanding.
I don't think the dad will be.
Yeah. My mom reached out to apologize for her behavior.
Okay.
And he was very open to hearing her out. He honestly wasn't even too upset with her and felt she just got caught up in my dad's shenanigans. Except it wasn't an apology. Not even close. Instead of owning up to her action, she basically doubled down and tried to defend what they had done. At one point, my husband flat out asked, are you just big? And instead of saying no, or that she was trying to work on that part of herself, she said, that's just how my family jokes.
Ah!
Yeah.
Ah!
She then went on to tell my husband that she thinks he should call my dad and that my dad has just become angry over the situation. It goes without saying that this call only made things 10 times worse.
Oh, no.
So at this point, he's basically told me that he doesn't want anything to do with my family. He is done trying to be nice to them and that he doesn't want our child around them and that he's upset with me for bringing him into this.
I think that's a very fair. I think it's very fair. I don't think any person of color owes like being in that situation to anyone.
Yeah. One detail I would like to add is that he does have a history with my family where he doesn't let them push him around. We did live 25 minutes away from my family for nearly 6 years at one point and saw them semi-regularly, so he is aware of how they are. I think what has changed is that he no longer has to think about how they treat just him, but now he has to think about how they potentially treat our child.
Exactly.
And it's like, if they're going to be racist towards him.
Yeah, how are they going to treat my child?
And what's that child's self-worth going to be like?
Exactly. You do not want to raise a child around people, especially in your own family.
Yeah. So how do I feel about all this? Truthfully, I'm sick of my family's behavior. It hurts because I do love them, but I'm also not going to let them disrespect my husband. And I don't think he should have to put up with how they treat him. His family has issues, but they have been nothing but kind to me since we have been together. They reach out to me to talk and ask how I'm doing. They show that they actually care about me. They've been a big part of the last 7 months and can't wait to meet our baby. By the way, we can't wait to meet you on YouTube and Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. BST. Just tap our profile. We're probably live right now.
Stop it.
There's another relevant update, but yeah, I feel like the joking racism is not going to be a good look for this kid.
No.
And good on the husband for like
standing up for himself and being like, I'm not.
Well, he's not standing up for himself.
He's standing up for
he's standing up for the kid because
yes.
he's like, he took it before and he's like, wait, no. I can't even. I need to stand up for my child.
Yeah.
I don't think I should be stressed and concerned about my family right now. If they are angry and upset, they can thank themselves for their actions. My main priority is just getting through this pregnancy. Part of me feels terrible that this is the experience that they chose to have while anticipating the arrival of their first grandchild, but They've had the opportunity to work on this and decided they weren't interested. I think low contact is the way to go for now. And OP, I think you're right.
I think so.
Low contact. I don't think you need
until
to
they
apologize. Cut them off.
Not necessarily.
But I think like they've earned low contact.
I think so. Yeah, I think until they come to their senses, if they have them.
If they have senses.
And realize what they did hurt you and your partner.
Yep.
And come and apologize, then they don't deserve to have a relationship with you.
And it's not even that they don't deserve it. It's like that relationship could damage your child. So
exactly.
why would you let them do that?
Why would you? Yeah. Why would you even chance that?
Exactly. But we do got one more
story. My boyfriend dumped me during a family crisis. 2 years later, I found out he was lying about everything.
I want to know what he's lying about.
Buckle up, Reddit, because this is a long, wild ride.
All right, let's get into it.
My ex, 30 male, and I, 28 female, had this on and off again thing for years. But the last 5 years were pretty steady.
Okay.
He told me early on, like 3 months in, that he had attachment issues. Every breakup was because things got too much for him, but he always came crawling back.
Seems healthy. Seems like nothing will go wrong. This isn't a red flag. Just
Not
ignore
at all.
it.
And I always took him back. One time I even started seeing someone else, but he begged me to come back, swearing therapy had helped him grow. I doubt it. By the way, this comes from Anxious Pangolin 7471 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So we managed a long-distance relationship for 5 years. Before that, we lived close together for 4 years. We've been together for a total of 9 years. He always had excuses for not moving in together, couldn't find a housing, wanted to work abroad, his studies, you name it. In hindsight, these were just BS excuses to avoid living with me. The last year of our relationship was rough. I wanted to live together, but he wouldn't make any moves. We fought about it a lot. It felt like I was never his priority. Work, money, and studies always came first. Then came the week of the breakup. It was a disaster. My shower and washing machine broke down first, and I had to get them repaired. That's rough. That's really hard. We've been through that.
Yeah. We've had a broken washing machine for like a month now.
Yeah. Then my mom called to say my grandma, who had been sick for years, was rushed to the hospital and wasn't expected to survive the night. Oh my God.
First the washing machine, then your grandma.
I called
my
then boyfriend completely emotional, and he reacted so indifferently. I knew something was off. After pushing him, he finally admitted he'd been planning to break up with me that week.
Oh, no. Right after her washing machine breaks, like that's pretty inconsiderate.
So inconsiderate, and also was like couldn't wait a minute.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I know your grandma's in the hospital, but like I was planning on breaking up with you. I guess now I can't.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Tell your grandma I send my regards.
He wanted to come by at the end of the week to do it before we went to his parents for a holiday celebration, which he obviously planned for me not to come to. He told me this on the phone right after I told him my grandma was like passing away. We agreed to meet at the end of the week to talk about it. The next day, my mom called again. She and her partner had COVID, so she couldn't visit my grandma. By Wednesday, my grandma got COVID too, but was still hanging on. My mom, who doesn't drive, and her partner was too sick to drive. So me and her, despite her COVID? I don't know. Decided to go one last time before she would pass away. Guess what? My car broke down. We had to take her partner's car to visit my grandma just in time because the next day she passed away.
OP can't catch a break.
No. On Friday, my ex came over. We broke up officially, and I told him I wanted no contact. Yeah.
Okay. At least you're losing some good dead weight.
That's so sad.
What?
You said you're losing some good dead weight?
Yeah, you're losing dead weight. Like some. Like,
I thought you were implying the grandma, and then you're losing.
Oh well, yeah. The grandma's like losing dead weight. Never mind.
By the way, not once that week did he ask me how I was doing or how my grandma was doing.
Dead weight.
It's hurtful.
It's good that it's lost.
Heartless.
That's what I meant.
After the breakup, I spiraled. I was on the brink of burnout. My boss sent me to the doctor because I was falling asleep at work. Oh my God. You need to take a week off.
Yeah.
Eventually, I quit because I couldn't take it anymore. I got sent to a therapist and diagnosed with a cyst on my thyroid. Not related to my tiredness. I still don't have an official diagnosis for that. You cannot catch a break. Oh my God.
This
Jeez.
is like the worst week.
Yeah.
The worst week ever.
Now I'm on a 52-week waiting list for the therapy because things are still really bad. I also developed a rare skin disease that has healed now, but it was so horrible.
Dude, who did you piss off? I feel like you've gotten I feel like some witch has it out for you and you've been cursed.
I did find another temporary job, which I'm still currently doing. Fast forward to now. I'm on vacation with some old college friends who are also friends with my ex. They told me he already has a new girlfriend and they're living together. I practically begged him for years to move in together, but he always put it off. He told me when we broke up that he wanted to focus on his career and studies, and I was in the way. My friend saw him last in February. We broke up about a year earlier in December. So barely a year after our breakup, he's living with his new girlfriend, even though he refused to move in with me after 4 years of begging. Here's the kicker. His new girlfriend is French.
Why does pain
stop? The kicker.
No.
His new girlfriend is
French, the humanity. Oh. Their baguettes and their stinky cheese. Their wee-wees and their Eiffel Towers.
Unbelievable. She was French.
Yeah, they think just because they gave us, our Statue of Liberty, they can walk all over us. No. That thing was bronze and turned green. That was not part of the deal.
2 months before we broke up, he went on a trip to France alone because he needed to think.
Disgusting.
Huge red flag in hindsight.
Huge. Who goes to France?
Who goes to France?
Ugh. Hey, dude, if I knew anyone in this room had gone to France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
instantly.
Every time you go to France, it always leads to a breakup.
I mean, at least a couple months down the line.
Yeah. I'm certain he met her there or even earlier, as he had been to France and worked for a French company in Africa before. I did some internet sleuthing with information from my college friend. My ex doesn't have social media, so I couldn't get information from there, and I found her. Her LinkedIn said she's a veterinarian from the same area as he told me he had been visiting 2 months before we broke up. He even told me he was visiting an old friend from his time in Africa and her veterinarian friend. 1 and 1 is 2, right? She doesn't have a job or studies here, which I got from my college friends, and her LinkedIn, which also specifically stated she is looking for a job in the city my ex lives in. So she must have moved here for him. Not even a year after we broke up. Why else would she come here?
Wait, a year after they broke up?
Yeah. Not even. A little under a year.
Wait, so what she's saying is now her ex-boyfriend, a year after they broke up, is with this vet?
She's moving in and moving from France.
And what she's implying is
that there was cheating.
Is that there was cheating.
2 months before, yeah. The whole situation is so unreal. During our 9-year relationship, he always told me he had difficulties with relationships, but really loved me and wanted to be with me, even though it scared him. Most of the time, things were great despite the long distance. I always joked to others that I wasn't scared he would cheat because one girl was already too much for him. Oh. So how can he now move on so quickly after 9 years and suddenly his attachment issues are gone? I doubt they're gone.
Practice relationship.
Moving in together probably less than a year.
All right, wait, really OP?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the whole like, if he wanted to, he would kind of thing. Like, it's just that someone can have relationship problems and issues in one relationship and not in another. And it's not a reflection on who you are.
No.
It's a reflection on him not knowing what he wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, that's the crux. So don't look into this and don't beat yourself up.
And also, I saw this other day, this like quote of the worst thing that he did to you is the best thing that happened to you. Like the breaking up, the best thing that happened to you in this situation, because it allows you to move on from him and find something better. Yeah.
And Kimberly Holly says, obviously he wasn't serious about OP. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. It's so absurd and just doesn't sound like the man I knew and loved for 9 years. There's a little bit left to this story. But Josephine Noodle Berquise, thank you for the 27 sec. Every time a French baby is born, a relationship dies. But there is a little bit left. But yeah, he sucks.
He sucks, but move on. Don't follow all of his relationship going ons, because what that really is like a sign that you're not trying to move on.
Yeah.
And you just gotta not think about the past relationships, even if your mom's following them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, You just got to forget about all of them.
Yeah. I feel so betrayed and lied to. Like how gaslighted and egotistic it is to break up with someone during a family crisis because you fell in love with another girl. Edit, since everyone seems to be hung up on the internet sleuthing, I looked her up once the night my college friends told me about her, and mostly because they couldn't remember her name. I just wanted to know if I knew her. Since my ex doesn't have social media, I went off his LinkedIn connections and found her through there, and through that information, put 2 and 2 together. Now that I know who she is, that's all I need to know I am not stalking and won't be looking her up again. And that is the end of that story.
Whew. And I think that's the end of that stream. We got a pretty good collection of stories.
There's a donation from Hannah! Another $20.
Hannah moves in silence. I like that everyone puts the
I think it's so funny. It reminds Riley the other day when Hannah done it, he was like, so funny.
But thank you for coming on this episode. We like that you stuck to the end.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on this stream. So
we're absent of our sickies.
Yeah.
But
hopefully
here.
They're on their recovery. Keon is hopefully going to get better by tomorrow. And then John, I think it will be better by tomorrow. Yeah. But if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you and see you tomorrow.